I'm here with Nancy Nally, who is the editor of Scrapbook Update, and Nancy has a brilliant concept of how you can change a layout into a card. So Nancy, tell us all about it.
Well, a lot of people, when they think about making cards after having made layouts for a long time, get really freaked out because the space is so much smaller and it's a different shape and they don't know where to start. But if you can design a layout, you can do a card.
I don't know if I believe you because I'm a terrible card maker.
Well, you know, it takes a while to get there, but if you think about it, how we're going to show you here in a minute, you can do it.
Okay, so I see your layout. It's beautiful.
Yes, and we have the matching card here. And the first challenge when you translate from a layout to a card design is you have this big element on your layout that's not going to be on your card. You have a photo. So the first step is you have to switch an element. That is, switch a photo into a design element.
Oh, so the balloon is what is the photo?
Yes, the balloon replaces this big design element that you have on the layout. And that's your big focal point piece. So you've got to switch that out. Then your second step is that you have to scale things, because when you're working with the big space, you have a lot of big elements that you're just not going to have room for. So the third concept is to simplify, because there's so much stuff in this space when you have a big layout, and you can't cram it all into a smaller area. So something has to go. Here we've eliminated the design strip here. We've eliminated the journaling block. There's not quite as many arrows that we've incorporated into the title.
Oh, you know, I didn't even notice. You stamped the arrows here that totally represent the chipboard.
They
That
totally
is so
represent
brilliant.
that. Yes, and so they're still there, but they're much simpler.
Cool. So, are you going to show us how to make this hot air balloon?
I am. It's much easier than it looks. The first thing is that we have this handy dandy stamp to start out with.
I like that it's a nice clean line drawing, so it really allows you to add your own interpretation. You can color it, you can add patterned paper, you can doodle in it. I love to Zentangle, you know, all sorts of stuff.
But a lot of people are intimidated by these line drawing stamps because they think that they have to learn to shade and do all that fancy stuff in them.
Oh, I've seen the people who do that, and it's amazing.
It is beautiful, but it is kind of scary.
It is.
Especially if you're not artistic, and I am not artistic, but I'm showing you
Everybody's got a little bit of artistic in them. I don't believe you, Nancy.
Well, if you're klutzy, like I am.
I can fall upstairs. I understand klutzy.
What you need to do is use the trick that I'm going to show you. Use waterproof ink. This is 140-pound cold press watercolor paper. Oops, my pad's a little dry.
Well, you know what? I know we have one that got a nice clean image right there.
Yes, we do. That's what happens when you travel with your stuff.
It's true.
And so then, handy dandy little die cut, run that through your machine.
What I'm noticing here is that this matches around the stamp completely and totally perfectly.
It does. And if you match that up just right,
you don't have to hand cut
you
ever
don't have
again,
to hand cut. Nope. And you just run that through your machine and you end up with this. And this is where the fun starts.
Hey, I think we've been having fun already.
Yeah, but now we're going to let your inner child out to play.
She's frankly out all the time.
Yeah, I know. It's fun, isn't it? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to get out crayons, but these aren't any ordinary crayons. They're watercolor crayons.
And you even picked one that matches your shirt?
I did. I love purple. I love purple. And just color. But we don't have to worry about the lines. As long as you stay sort of in the general neighborhood, you can just color like this.
So you're not even going close to those lines.
No, I don't have to go near the lines to fill in this area because we're going to do that hard work in a minute.
Ooh, I want to see that.
Yes. So after you finish your coloring, it's going to look something like this.
Yeah.
You're going to take your wet paintbrush, dab here, and I like to get a little bit of extra water off of mine because here's where you do the fun work. When you take a wet paintbrush to this,
you're smushing it.
It'll start to liquefy, and then you can just push that pigment around, and it's much better than using that big clunky crayon, and you push it to where you want it.
And that's nice. You're using a brush with a nice small tip so that it's easy to go right up against that line. And obviously you stamped with, as you said, some waterproof ink onto watercolor paper so you know that the paint is not, or rather the ink is going to be fine, the paper's not going to buckle.
Exactly. And it's just so much fun to color.
It is.
And when you're done with all of the water, you end up with it looking like this.
It's beautiful. And I can see how on the finished card, it just looks fantastic. It draws your eye right away. It's a great focal point.
And it's got some nice texture to it. You don't have to really learn to do the shading, but you still get just kind of that little bit of texture to the color without having to, do anything but sit there with a crayon, which we've all been doing since we were 2. So.
And I know you've got an idea for smaller spaces, because I was thinking that has a lot of space and room, that design.
Yes, if you have a very small element like this, which we're going to see on the next project.
And that's another stamp, of course.
Yes, this is a different stamp, and the area is really small. What's really important is the amount of pigment that you're putting down. So you can just do like literally a line in the middle.
Really, you don't need any more than that.
And if that's enough pigment to fill the area that you want with the amount of color that you want.
Oh, and it just smushes
that's
right around.
all you need.
I love how that looks.
It's just barely.
That's super cool, and I know that you have done a bunch of those tags and you've put them on this card, but see, Nancy, this is where things get tough for me, because that's a rectangle, that's a square, and I don't know, that's hard for me. So how did you translate this page using your, what is it, simplify, scale, and switch?
Simplify, or switch, scale, simplify.
Okay.
What we want to do is first we got to switch. We've got all these photos, they had to go somewhere.
And you turn them
tags.
into the tags.
Then what we did is we've got this huge block of pattern paper. Well, we had to figure out a way to squish things, so we kept the sentiment strip and pushed it up over what would be the photos here.
That is a fantastic idea, Nancy. I love this. I'm going to go home, and I am definitely going to be making some cards for my layouts. Thank you so much.